channel, and today I'm going to be talking about Belgian Tripel. That is category 26C in the BJCP beer style guidelines. And to be clear, I am saying it without an accent. I'm not saying Tripel. I'm not going to try to keep that up. That's a choice. This is part of a series where I'm talking about beer styles, and these videos are great if you're studying for a BJCP or a Cicerone exam, or you just like talking about beer. Why listen to me? I am a nationally ranked beer judge and an Advanced Cicerone, and I love talking about beer. So go ahead and grab whatever Belgian beer you got lying around, and we'll get started. First, a little bit of history on the style. And to talk about a tripel, I do need to talk about the history of Belgian brewing in general. Up until almost the 1900s, Belgium was taxing their brewers on the size of the mash tun. So it was in a brewer's best interest to brew in the smallest mash tun possible. So when brewers were using the terminology single and double, they were actually talking about the number of turns they used the mash tun itself to make a single beer. So a double was actually 2 turns through the mash tun in order to make 1 beer. Now this did eventually grow to also denote strength, and so a triple is obviously stronger than a double, but originally it had to do with the taxation of the mash. The first time we saw a triple was in the 1930s, and this was about 100 years after we saw the first Pilsner in Europe. And it was the Belgians' answer to the Pilsner. The Pilsner grew exponentially and became very, very popular in Europe, and they needed something made with light grains that was light and clear and crisp that could compete with the Pilsner in the beer market. And so the triple was born. Westmalle specifically was the first Trappist brewery to create this beer style. Today I am drinking a classic example of the style. We have our Westmalle Tripel, coming in at 9.5% ABV, so that should be fun. They started brewing at the Abbey in 1836, and they began selling beer at the Abbey in 1856. All of the profits they make off the beer have to go back into the brewery or the monastery or related monasteries. The first time they released and sold the Tripel was in 1934. Classic ingredients for this beer style are Pilsner malt and sugar adjuncts to help boost that ABV, continental hops, characterful Belgian yeast creating a phenolic spicy character, no spice additions, and then soft water. Let's check the aroma. It's really complex, which is great for style. I'm getting a moderate malt character, some white bread with a hint of honey malt. Then I've got a really complex phenolic and ester character, moderately high pepper notes with a lower note of clove, and then some fruitiness. I got overripe banana with a lower character of orange peel. And then I get an alcohol note. It's kind of rose-like for me, telling me it's gonna be a 9.5% beer for sure. And for the hops, I get just a hint of an herbal character, so some continental hops in there for sure. For their appearance, a beautiful gold color, very clear, and when I poured it, it had a thick, moussey white head, very tight, small bubbles. Great for style. Going in for mouthfeel. Medium light body with very high carbonation, despite all the swirling I've done. Effervescent, just a touch of alcohol warmth, not creamy and not astringent at all. Last, we have to discuss flavor. Wow, I mean, it's a very complex beer style, and This one really nails it. Moderate level of malt character, following through from the aroma, white bread with some honey character. Then the phenolics are moderately high, pepper and some clove character underneath. Esters are moderate with overripe banana and specifically orange peel. And then there is a floral rose character, which I quantify as the alcohol note, reminding me of the ABV. There is a sturdy hop bitterness, moderate in level, and no hop flavor. The balance in this beer comes from the fermentation character versus the hops in some other beer styles. Then I would say the really great thing about this beer style is all of these components combined make one really great sip. Nothing is overwhelming anything else. And the finish is dry, making you want to come back for another sip. Just a little lingering pepper phenolic at the end. It's great. A couple more notes on the style. The ABV range is 7.5 to 9.5, so this guy is right at the top. When we're comparing this to other beer styles, the closest is the Belgian Golden Strong. In comparison, the Tripel is going to be a little bit darker, has a little bit bigger body, and is more focused on the phenolic character versus the esters. So that means the Tripel is going to be more spice forward, whereas the Belgian Golden Strong might be a little bit more fruit forward in the yeast character. And the classic examples of this style are Chimay Tripel, Le Roule Tripel, Westmalle Tripel, Le Trappe Tripel, St. Bernardus Tripel, and Val-d'Eu Tripel. I had fun talking about a Belgian Tripel. I'm going to have even more fun finishing this Belgian Tripel. Please like and subscribe, and let me know in the comments below what you want to be beer coached on next.